All right, everyone, we're going to open up the special meeting for the 15th of October. The time is 5:30. Roll call. Mr. Zeckman. Here. Mr. Deutscher. Here. Mr. Williams. Here. Mr. Pollack. Here. And I'm Rick Jackson here. Under the special meeting, is there anything special we need to go over it other than just the appeals?
Right, just the appeals.
Okay. Just the appeals. What we'll do is we'll call the appeals one by one, and then we'll vote on them. And Ed, you're going to keep track of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Appeal number one was heard. Okay, what was the appeal about?
Appeal number one, the firefighter actually did not raise any issue with his test score. The issue he raised was that another firefighter had written down the wrong test score and was later, or excuse me, test number on their test booklet, and then was later allowed to correct his test number so that he had the correct on the test number. The firefighter contended that other firefighter should have his whole test thrown out because he initially wrote down the wrong test number. So that was his discussion.
I'll move we deny the appeal, and then I'll reserve a couple seconds to talk on that.
So I have a motion by Mr. Pollack. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Williams. Discussion?
I move to deny this appeal because he's appealing someone else's test. He can appeal his own test, but from the way I read the requirements, you can't appeal somebody else's test. And it would wind up that we would change a score based not on his test, but on somebody else's number of the test. So therefore, it's a moot point. And in the past, we have allowed individuals to change the numbers to make it corroborate with the number that they actually took the test. If we're going to do this, we got to tell people in advance. They get the number wrong on the test in terms of the number of their test, then the test will not be allowed. But we did not do that. So therefore, I'm denying the appeal. I'm requesting to deny the appeal.
Any other discussion?
I would just say that there's nothing that the person who wrote down their test number wrong initially, it's not like they got any special benefit from doing that. They still had to take the test, and they took the test, and they got the score that they got on that test. That's all I think.
Any other discussion?
So just to clarify, you took the test, you wrote down the wrong number, but you still got the correct test that they took.
What we did is actually did it as a process of elimination. It got down to the point where a firefighter was saying it was taking too long for his test to be graded. We brought him in and checked his ID to the number and then to the test, and it didn't match. So we knew that we had the right guy.
Okay, so you put a new process in.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know what do you mean by new process.
So, I mean, what are you going to do to validate? Or what are you going to do to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, we're going to have to, in advance, tell people that if they write down the wrong number for their test, or they don't put any number down at all, then we will not count their test, and they will not be allowed to proceed forward in terms of a promotion.
So is there a
standard in a lot of colleges, but on the other hand, we didn't tell people that in advance.
But is there a written instruction at all that says, that has any instructions when they fill out the information?
There is not.
Okay.
There is not.
Because verbal, I mean, are you recording what you say to them when they take the test? Or not?
It's not. The test is not recorded.
Exactly. So I just suggest that going forward that you have something that's written somewhere as well.
Yes, we need to.
And just to clarify, you're saying your opinion is if we should do that in the future, or if we do that in the future, we need to make sure there are clear instructions, but we're not necessarily saying that that's going to be the rule going forward.
No,
We're not
in
deciding
my
right.
opinion, it should be, it should be done that way in the future.
Got it. So we still have a motion to deny the appeal. Is there we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any more discussion? Are we ready for a vote?
Call the vote.
All those in favor to deny the appeal, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Appeal number 2.
Appeal number 2. Okay, appeal number 2 is actually somewhat related to appeal number 1 in that when the one firefighter wrote down the incorrect test number, it was actually somebody else's test number, and so the appeal number 2 just wanted to make sure that he was able to review his test with the number and make sure that he had the right score for the one that was his.
So he verified his test.
Yeah, to verify that it was his.
Okay.
And so he didn't request any relief. He looked at his test, agreed it was his, agreed the score was correct, so he's not really requesting any relief. So I would say that his appeal at this point is pretty good.
So we can move on to appeal number 3.
Well, I think we should deny or make a motion to just dismiss it as moot.
Okay. Is there a motion to dismiss?
I would move to dismiss the appeal.
Motion by Mr. Zachnow, seconded by Mr. Pollack. Any discussion? Calling for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Appeal number 3.
Appeal number 3. I believe the firefighter in appeal number 3 only raised the issue that we refer to as the dividing by 68 versus dividing by 80 issue, which is that the ordinance states to divide all the evaluation scores by 80. The max score you can get on your evaluations is 800 for some. For some firefighters, they can only get 680, so they feel their evaluation score should be divided by 68, otherwise they can't get a perfect score, which would be 10, I guess.
I'll move we deny the appeal. Reserve time to speak.
So I have a motion by Mr. Pollack. Second by Mr. Williams.
My only comment on this, we have followed the ordinance in the way we did the calculation. The firefighter has a problem with the way the ordinance is written, but that's not in our area. That needs to be referred to some kind of a committee on the city council, getting together with the fire chief and with the union to resolve this problem. It's a matter of, we follow the ordinance, and there's concern about how that particular ordinance is written in the way that the scores are calculated. And there's nothing we can do about that.
Is there any other discussion?
Call the question.
Okay, there's no other discussion. Roll call. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Passed. Appeal number 4, please.
Okay, appeal number 4, the firefighter wanted an opportunity to review his score sheet because he believed that it had been added incorrectly. We went over it with him in executive session and determined that it, in fact, had been added correctly. So we would need a motion to change his score to correct the arithmetic error that was made.
So there was an actual, it was an
I'll make a motion that we change the score properly. I was the one that did all the calculations, and this is what I got wrong. My bad on that one, so let me make the motion that we do the correction.
A motion by Mr. Pollack, second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Zachnow. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, so that's to grant number 4.
That was the grant.
Okay.
Appeal number 5, please.
Okay, and the appeal number 5, the firefighter, I think, simply wanted to verify his score, so he actually didn't ask for any relief. He just wanted to look at his test score, so there's no relief being requested there. I would move to deny, or to dismiss appeal number 5 as well.
Okay, I have a motion to dismiss. Seconded by Mr. Williams. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Appeal number 6.
Okay, appeal number 6 also just raised the divide by 68 versus divide by 80 issue.
Make the motion, we deny.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Pollack. Discussion? Okay, let's call for the total. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes.
So that is denying appeal number 6.
And we have appeal number 7. Number 7 is actually going to be broken down into 3 different parts, because there's 3 different situations. So I want to go step by step.
Okay, appeal number 7, well, I guess we could deal with the easiest part first, is that he also raised the issue of dividing by 68 versus dividing by 80. So,
The first part of the appeal, is there a motion?
Well, I'll move that again, we deny that request because it's another one of those situations where we followed the statutes, we followed the ordinance, and as a result of that, if there has to be a change, it's going to have to come through the city council and probably on a recommendation by the fire chief, the union, and the merit commission itself. So I make my motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Pollack. Second by Mr. Williams. Any more discussion? Call for the total. Anybody in favor? Say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Part 2 of number 7.
okay, part 2 of number 7 was the firefighter believed that his seniority was counted wrong, that he should have been given more seniority than he was given because of the way their longevity is calculated under the collective bargaining agreement. But we went by his seniority based on the years of his anniversary date.
Is there a motion on this part of number 7?
I would move that we would deny the appeal as to that second part because we've used the same seniority figures for everyone based on their anniversary date and with reference to the collective bargaining agreement, which we don't have anything to do with.
I'll second that motion, but I also want to speak a little bit because this is one of those, again, where we need to take a look at, should we put this in accordance with how a lot of other situations are calculated on seniority, because this is separate from the ordinance and separate from what's been set up through a contractual situation with the union. So should we or should we not, and we need to have a discussion on that before we go through this again, move ourselves in coordination with that. But that takes a change in policy and a change in the system that we use for everybody this time, but perhaps in the future that's something that should be looked at.
I would just add, I think it might also require, a change in ordinance.
Right.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Zachnow, seconded by Mr. Pollack. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The motion passed. Part 3 of number 7.
Okay. The third issue raised on appeal number 7 was that the way the test was conducted, people could take both the captain's test and the lieutenant's test. After they took the captain's test, they actually had an opportunity to review their test and see what answers they had gotten wrong. And he contends that this could have helped people who then, after taking the captain's test, saw what answers they got wrong, and then they went to the lieutenant's test, which may have had a couple of, or some of the same questions, and now they had already gotten it wrong on the captain's test and knew the right answer, so when they took the lieutenant's test, it was easier for them to get the correct answer. I believe the relief he is requesting there was that we throw the whole test, all the tests out, or at least all the captain's and lieutenant's tests.
Sometimes things go wrong, and you have to live with it until you can get it corrected. I'm not real happy about the way that occurred, and I think there are methodologies that we can correct that the next time around. But for now, I move that the appeal be dismissed.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Pye, seconded by Mr. Williams.
Do you know for a fact that there are questions that were on both tests?
That was a rumor. We don't know that for a fact.
It was just raised with us during the executive session, so I don't think we had a chance to check that. I would say, I think in hindsight, if we do, next time we do this, maybe we don't have them, allow them to review one test before they take the second test. In hindsight, that might have been a mistake, but in our defense, we went over the procedure numerous times with the firefighters, with the unions, tried to make it as easy as possible. Everybody thought the idea of getting in and out and being able to review your test, get your score on the same day was a good idea. Everybody had the same opportunity to review their test. If they took the captain's test in the morning, they had the same opportunity to review their test as everybody else did. I believe everybody would have been given the correct answers. If they got an answer wrong and asked to know, well, what was the correct answer on this one that they should have been told. There was some dispute about that. My recollection is that, we told everybody that that's what we were going to do, and if they reviewed their test and they said, hey, what was the right answer for number 46, we gave them the right answer for number 46, so that nobody, as regards all the people in that situation, nobody was treated differently or unfairly, in my opinion.
So which test went first? Which test was first?
I believe it was the captain's test.
So was there anybody who took the second test that didn't take the first test?
Offhand, I don't know. Most people took both captains and lieutenants. There may have been some that only took one or the other.
I mean, it's your pleasure, but I mean, is this something that you could table until another time? I mean, are you going to verify that there was no difference, that there weren't any duplicates or anything like that? The only reason why I'm saying that is if somebody took the second test, but didn't take the first test, and the people took the first test, were able to get the wrong answers and look at them, they had an advantage over the people who didn't take the first test. That's all I'm saying, is if there was somebody in that second group who didn't take the first test, is all I'm saying. So I'm just, as a devil's advocate, I mean, if I'm in that second group and I didn't take the first test, and they were able to miss them and then get it corrected, and then I come in fresh.
Yeah, you would be at a disadvantage.
And just like they weren't allowed to take anything in with them. They couldn't,
And that's okay, but me, I just took a test. And I said, well, I missed this one. Oh, okay, that's the right answer. Okay, now I'm going to take the next test. My sister comes in and takes the second test. I get all of them right, and she misses a few of them, even one I missed before, that I got the correct answer for, I had an advantage. That's all I'm saying, is that that's an example that you really need to think about. Just verifying and confirming that there was nobody in that second group that didn't take the first test. And I don't know if it's something you can table or not, but I mean, you can vote on it however you want, but I'm just pointing out an example that's a real life example that just that person may not file an appeal per se, but they may have just come to the second test. You guys have a motion on the floor.
That would be, and to me, I think the question would be was, and did anybody that didn't take it, could they have taken it? Because to some extent, if you can take the test and you decide not to take the test, and then the people who took the test got the advantage. I understand.
It's at the pleasure of the commission. Whatever you want to do.
I think we
have a motion on the
discuss the points she raised a little bit more.
Does anybody want to withdraw the motion? Or do you want to hold the motion? What do you want to do?
Well, I'm sorry.
He said, do you want to call the vote?
I have a motion. Who gave the motion? It was Mr. Pollock gave the motion, seconded by Williams.
Okay, this is a motion to deny the appeal?
Yes. All right, calling for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passed. Is there any other appeals or any other business that we need to take care of?
Those are all the appeals.
All right. So the appeals part is closed. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Sorry.
No?
I'm sorry to keep asking these questions. So I just want to go back to, you guys at any time, it doesn't have to come from the chief. If you think there's a discrepancy in the ordinance, feel free to shoot those to me. It doesn't have to be the chief. It could be the commission as well. I mean, the only thing, and I'll need to look at the scores because that seems like that was an issue. Because I don't have the ordinance in front of me to be able to understand what that was. But I'll take a look at it because when you start putting numbers and stuff in ordinances, anything can change with testing, different testing groups. That doesn't make any sense to have specifics like that. It should be, a test is a test.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about the 68 versus 80, it has to do with the evaluations, the top score for someone who gets an evaluation, for some firefighters it's 800 and for some it's 680. And the ordinance says to divide the evaluations by 800. Their argument is if we can only get 680, we should be divided by 68. But it's just not in it. And if you want, I can get your email afterwards and I can direct you to the specific section.
I'm sure I got it at home, but I'll take a look at it because I just want to make sure that I understand that there needs to be a change to what it is. So I'll do that. I have my photo book at home. Thank you. That's all I had questions on.
Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Motion by Mr. Pollock. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.